Premed office hours. It is September 10th, 2025. I hope you are all having a wonderful day. My name is Dr. Ryan Gray, founder of Medical School Headquarters Mappd, author of the Premed Playbook series, host of the Premed Years podcast. Left-handed, red-headed stepchild. That is who I am. So please be nice.
Are you a middle child?
Children. I'm not a middle child, thankfully. I don't have that label. I got all the other labels.
I'm left-handed too.
You're left-handed too?
Mm-hmm.
I did. That's why we get along. Although I'm a weird lefty, I only throw and kick left-handed and left-footed. Everything else I do right-handed. And so I'm super ambidextrous. Like I can use chopsticks with both hands and like.
Okay. So I write left-handed. I use a fork left-handed, but I would throw and racket sport and even cut with a knife right-handed because I grew up in a family of righties.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll be eating dinner and it's just something feels weird. And I'm just like, oh, let me switch my knife and fork. Okay, that feels better. Like I'll get confused. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. But I get to hang out with you two amazing people. Courtney Dunford, former director of admissions at Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine, prior vice chair-elect of Cameo. That's a whole council of admissions officers of osteopathic medical schools. So you didn't have your experience just at Burrell. You got to see the whole landscape of admissions around the country, which is awesome. How you doing today, Courtney?
Yeah. Good. You came in with such energy. It's invigorating. I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
Turn it on. You got to. I mean, it's the video. You have to come up a little bit more animated, or else it just lands flat.
I need an energy drink then.
I wish caffeine touched me. I would be a completely different person. Caffeine doesn't do anything to me.
Same.
I could take a nap. It doesn't do anything, but nothing. I like to pretend sometimes. Placebo effect, right?
Yes.
Placebo.
Also here today, Dr. Christine Crispin, former director of admissions at UC Irvine, former AdCom member, director of curriculum at Keck Med at USC. How you doing today, Christine?
I'm doing all right. I'm just living the fourth grade mom life right now.
The fourth grade mom life. Yeah. That is a thing.
It is.
Living
the
that
homework
thing.
is real.
Oh God. Thankfully, my daughter went through a transition. I promise we'll get to questions soon. So keep asking your questions. There's a couple already here. My daughter went through a phase where like she just hated homework. And it was miserable. And now she's super excited about it. She comes home and does it right away. And thankfully, my son's a second grader and he's still excited about homework. So hopefully that stays the same. So
from kindergarten, because we started getting homework in kindergarten, he has never appreciated it. But we have some academic struggles, but I will say he's doing well and he's doing his homework. We just don't necessarily enjoy it.
Yeah. There are some things I'm like, I don't remember how to calculate the area of a square.
You get to relearn content.
Oh my God. I have to Google. I'm like, how do you do this again?
Yeah.
And then the way they teach
AI
it
answers.
is so, oh Lord, have mercy. Or I have to tell him, go ask Dad. Just go ask Dad. He might know.
You might know. James asks a question. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good evening, wherever you are.
Morning.
Do JSTs, also known as SJTs, situational judgment tests, need to be on the AMCAS or COMIS application? No. So they are separate from the application. Similar to the MCAT, you can submit your application without those done. And a COMIS is 2 A's and 1 C. H neuro, is it okay if some secondaries were turned around within 1 month instead of 2 weeks, or is this a significant disadvantage to your application? Christine, this is secondary stress out time.
Yeah,
it's triple S, secondary stress season.
That's your new button.
Yeah, we can use that.
Yeah. That's the new button. The question will come. I've been sitting on this secondary. Is it even worth turning in at this point, or have I lost my chances? What do you say to students who are in this situation where it's like, I got a little behind? Sorry.
I mean, is it worth turning in? Yes, I think it's still worth turning in. I also think there should be some haste in turning them around. We just had a thing yesterday, Courtney, you commented on it. Schools are still, interviews are starting to go into October and November. So you want to realize that while you're sitting on your secondary, things are moving along. So
yeah,
put it in. If it's a school that's important to you, submit your secondary. Don't wait. If in this case, if you have already turned them in, but it took you a month to turn it in, okay, that's fine too. I think it's hard to get everything in 2 weeks, but put some pep in your step here.
Yeah. Pep in the step. Let's do it. Okay. Turn it in. James said, no, not SJTs. This is why you gotta be careful with acronyms and abbreviations and all that stuff.
We were just talking about that.
The joint service transcript, which also I do know about. Yes, your joint service transcript is a transcript. It's an academic transcript for all of the education that you did in the military. That does go on the application.
So with that, I think that they fixed this, but depending on how old it is, I know they did credit hours slightly differently, like where if you would have taken it at a four-year institution, you would have gotten 4 or 5 credits for some of the science classes that included labs. And in some situations, they were only giving 3 credits, so you weren't hitting minimum credit hours. And if that's the case, like if this is a little bit older, you'll want to kind of look into that and potentially kind of look through any provisions around admissions processes and things like that, because I definitely personally ran into that.
Yeah. The lovely kind of nuances of military stuff. I wanted to quickly share here. Let me get rid of this and change this and come over here. This. MappdCon 2025 is this weekend. It is free. It is Saturday. Free to register. You can see the little ticker at the bottom of the screen as well, MappdCon.com. We start off 9 a.m. Eastern. I'm sorry for all of you Pacific folk, even for me on the mountain time. It'll be pretty early day for me. But we have so many amazing sessions going on. Almost all day long, we'll have 3 concurrent sessions going on. You can see public health, CASPA, MCAT stuff with our VP of Test Prep and Tutoring, Petros. Exploring osteopathic medicine from ACOM. ACOM is actually giving away, I don't know if you saw that, Courtney, they're giving away a free application fee to a student. So
that's awesome.
They're sponsoring us this year, which is awesome. Your old colleague or someone who's
he came in after me, but yeah. I know him. Yeah. Austin
great. Will be here. Natalie actually, I think, was there with you. Natalie not Davis. What's her last name? Is it Davis?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Natalie Davis. Yeah. It's funny because isn't it Steve Davis at Toro? So I have 2 Davises on the panel. She's going to be on the DO panel.
Oh, good.
Admissions
She's
panel
wonderful. She's super plugged in. She serves as the chair of the council. She's great to have. She's a good resource.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. So you can see so many amazing sessions. A lot of our awesome experts are doing sessions. We got RT from Cap Year. Savannah's running the PA session. Hey, look at these 2 amazing people.
I know.
Pathway to Building a Strong Application for Medical School. That is at 11 a.m. Eastern. So come. All of these sessions will be available later for those who register. So go register. You can see I'm super excited about this session. We have an MD panel and a DO panel. I normally don't like to segregate MD and DO, but it just worked out that we had lots of people who could join. And so we just made it work that way. Raphael, Dr. Rivera is a really good friend, Dean of Admissions at NYU. Dr. Layla Amiri, even better friend. She's at Vermont. Juliet Hill, Go Gators, Director of Admissions at UF. So many amazing things. So come hang out. all day
I'm
long.
gonna go hang out on those panels too. I always like to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm really excited for my conversation with, again, another friend, Dr. Ricky Brown. He's the real TikTok doc on TikTok. So go check him out. He's got like 8 or 9 million followers. He's always doing some crazy things. MappdCon.com. Go check it out.
We already have a couple thousand going, so it's going to be a fun event. Good energy. So
that's the plan. And then I will, right after, go to Denver and go hang out at the Gator Bar and watch our Florida Gators hopefully get a win against LSU. So anyway, who's Alabama playing? Do you know?
No, I don't know. I don't know these things until my husband informs me.
Oh, okay. Who are the Huskies? Who do the Huskies have? You guys had a huge blowout win this week.
Sure did. We were at the game. It was a fun game.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, we're at every home game for the Huskies, but we've got some tough ones coming up. I know we have Ohio State, the Ohio State coming.
I hate them. Please win.
We're gonna, up the line, we'll have some Michigan ones. So, but Alabama's still our old coach, so if they lose a couple games, I'm not super sad, but
they've been losing. Don't worry. They're at Wisconsin. They're with Wisconsin this week. By the way, I looked it up.
Okay. All right.
Let's go Wisconsin.
Roll Tide.
Mel, what are the pros and cons of taking 1 year gap versus 2 year gap? Courtney,
question.
The question. And this is, I think, my biggest problem with talking about gap years is the inherent assumption that gap years are good and maybe 2 years is better than 1 year just because gap years are good. Dive into the thought process here and what can be viewed from the admissions side about gap years and what you see.
Yeah, I think more and more post-COVID, we are seeing people opting for a little bit longer time frame before they're ready to apply to medical school. I think one of the biggest things people kind of miss on is using the gap year, your application gap year, to fulfill some of the requirements that you should have already had fulfilled at the time of application. And so just thinking, well, I've got 2,000 anticipated, medical assisting hours that I'm doing during my gap year, but I only have 20 completed. It's not a good look. That's problematic for the AdCom. They like to see more completed hours done. And so your gap year should be, you still want to be active during it, but it's not going to be the thing that's going to catch everything, and everything can just be anticipated. I think it's good for some people to give themselves a bit more time to tackle and go in as a stronger, better prepared applicant. 2 years is not uncommon. Some of this is going to just come down to your unique application. It's not for everybody. Some people truly are prepared junior year to hit the ground running the next. And so forcing a gap year, really unnecessary. But this is hard to answer and give anything really concrete without having to put asterisks all over it.
Yeah.
Because it's very
the question is, what do you
individualized.
need?
Yeah.
Right? What do you need?
Yeah. What are you trying to use it for? Right.
What do you have planned?
Yeah. So I wanted to share this as well. It should be a big screen sharing day. So this is the MSQ. So the AAMC basically does a big survey of all of the matriculating students into MD schools. And you can see in this survey, this is 2024 data, that students taking 1 to 2 years increased from 47% to 49.6%. 3 to 4 years increased about another percentage point, and less than a year dropped from almost 29 down to 25.5 or so. The problem is that students look at this data, advisors look at this data, and they judge the data and say, students are taking gap years. Students that are getting into medical school are taking gap years. Therefore, taking gap years is what you need to do to get into medical school. And that is not what this says at all. We can't make any assumptions on this data. We just know what is. Yeah. And so as you're going through this process, 1 year versus 2 years, again, it's like, what do you need? And if you need 2 years, awesome, take 2 years. If you need 3 years, take 3 years. If you don't need any years, go for it. So
I think because of how much they're being asked to do and kind of balance coursework wise, exposure wise, volunteer wise, leadership wise, sometimes it can be helpful to just spread it out just a little bit more. Give yourself time to actually study for the MCAT, things like that. And you now see that you can do that and still be competitive. Maybe, so do it if you need it.
Yep. If you need it. Let's see. Heidi, I have 8 interviews, 3 completed already, 5 to go so far. Amazing. I did 5 mock interviews beforehand and was told I did well. What do you think are my chances of getting an offer at this point? Heidi, you got it. You got 8 interviews. Amazing.
Yeah.
Did you do mock interviews with our team? Then I would tell you it's probably near 100% you're going to get it. Yeah. Christine, can we make any assumptions from interview to acceptance? Like if you get an interview, you're likely to get accepted, or is it like still flip of a coin?
Okay. I think obviously the fact that you have 8 interviews already means that your application did its job, right? You have a good application. You appealed to a variety of schools. And obviously without the interviews, there is no acceptance. And so you can certainly lend yourself to thinking, I got to the phase I need to get at to get the acceptance. I hate the question of what do you think I'm going to get? Do you think I'm going to get an offer out of this? I honestly don't know. It's so you can't always predict that.
Yep.
What's the level of pre-screen by the time they invite you to the interview? What's the post-interview screen after the interview? How does the AdCom weigh all of that? Yep. I think the fact that you have 8 interviews, I think, there's definitely a great chance that you're going to get an acceptance out of one of that. I hope you're not going to bomb all 8 interviews. Yeah. But I think there's too many variables to say, yep, I'm solid, you're going to get in. I would feel very uncomfortable making that kind of a promise.
Yeah.
So I totally equivocated that answer, and I apologize.
Way to hedge. You've spoken like a true politician. I mean, I'll give a specific example, and I was just talking about this student yesterday, actually. There was a student many years ago, Natalie, who it took her 3 application cycles to get in. Her first application cycle, she just wasn't prepared to apply to medical school. Her stats weren't there, her grades weren't there, whatever. Her second application cycle, she had did some post-bac work, fixed her stuff. She had 6 interviews, I believe, her second application cycle. Didn't get in anywhere. And so her third application cycle, she applied basically with the same application, but found me. This was back before I had a team of advisors, found me, and we did some mock interviews together. And I could tell 5 minutes in what her problem was. And we fixed it. And she went from 6 interviews and 5 waitlists to, I think, 7 interviews and 6 acceptances. Because her approach, she just had the wrong idea of what the goal was for the interview. And I'm like, you're turning everyone off with how you're speaking to them or at them.
Right.
Versus just being your normal, amazing self and having a conversation. And once she flipped that switch, it was amazing. And I would love, I need to find out where she's at now, because she had a really amazing background. So yeah.
I have a student that I'm working with at Chapman that when I left, he was not happy. This is your fault. So I'm working with him. He has 12 interviews right now. and he's great. And I'm like, you just got to let them see why you're a good person. You've got to let them see the person you are
Yep.
beyond the pre-med applicant, and you are a great person. Let's make sure that they see that.
It is not a verbal exam where you want to be the
No.
most concise you can be. It is not helpful. Not helpful.
Yeah. Charlie asked, do admissions committees think it's a bad look to see if you're applying to MD and DO and maybe even Caribbean schools at the same time? Courtney, again, former director of admissions at a DO school, you don't know if students are applying to MD or Caribbean or anything else. Do you care? You know that students need to do what's in their best interest, so let them do what they want to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, we anticipate strong candidates to cast a thoughtful, wide net. That is strategic. That is a smart thing to do. So no, not really. I think if there's two very close MD and DO programs potentially housed under the same institution or sharing, like, they may talk back and forth. You'll never control that or really know, but no, they don't care.
Yeah. I would say the same for MD.
Yeah. Okay. Don't care. All right. Casey, got my first interview invite, MD, and it's in January. Congrats. Fantastic. Yeah. Interview invites are going out to January already. So I don't say that to stress you all out and go, I didn't get an interview invite yet. But yeah, they fill up. Yep. Congrats. All right. There was one question here I wanted to get to, even though it's a little bit outside of our expertise. Srinivas, my cousin is ECFMG certified, residency applicant, 0 interviews in year 1, 10 interviews in year 2, but no match. She passed USMLE and OET. I'm not sure what OET is. What are her chances for year 3? So this is a little bit outside of our expertise, but I know year of graduation, or YOG as it's abbreviated. The longer that students are outside of graduates or outside of their med school graduation, the harder it is to match. And so the goal for anyone in this situation is try to get some sort of research position, typically is what's available, at an institution where they have a residency program for the residency that you're trying to get into, and work your butt off. That's it. Just show them how much of an asset you are to the team and to the organization, and just show up. So yeah, good luck. And then obviously essays, interview prep, all of that stuff. We can help. We do residency interviews and residency essay stuff as well, so we can help with that. But yeah, it's an unfortunate situation where students find themselves in. One question would be, what's their visa requirement? Do they require a visa? Nowadays, that's getting harder and harder, obviously, with the current administration. If they're a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, that changes the equation a little bit more.
With that many interviews, though, something's kind of going on. It may be a very similar situation where maybe it's just been approached at slightly the wrong angle. I'd be curious about that, because that's a fair amount of interviews to not rank.
It's a good amount of interviews.
Program. Yeah.
Fringe syringe. I like it. That's the name of my meth dealer. No, I mean, just kidding. I don't know. I was watching a Breaking Bad video the other day. That's what popped into my head. I don't know if you've seen this video. Breaking Bad is one of my favorite shows, and I was watching Hot Ones. If you've ever watched Hot Ones, the chicken wing eating interview show is amazing. And Jesse was the guest from Breaking Bad, and he goes, "Is it true that Walter Bryan Cranston always told you to like take the meth home with you?" And he goes, "Oh, I took so much meth, and it's rock candy. It's just sugar
Yeah.
candy.
Yeah.
He's like, that was so good. I used to take it up in my pockets, and it's amazing. Anyway, what is the best advice for scenario-based MMI interviews that includes you in the breakout room with other applicants? Also, you're familiar with pre-recorded MMIs through Kira Talent. Yeah.
Best advice for scenario-based MMI that includes you in a breakout room with other applicants.
Yeah, Courtney, what do you think? So MMI interview based, but with other applicants. So I'm a little confused about that tweak there.
Yeah, there's a couple of different formats that it could be that we've kind of encountered over time. One can be something where somebody's giving instructions, other people are completing the task based on the instructions. So it can be kind of group work like that. Other times they'll have kind of group discussion where they throw out a topic, a prompt, and just kind of toss it out into the group and say, discuss. Really, the thing that you need to think about, this shouldn't be weird. It's going to be a bunch of peers who are also trying to be on their best behavior. If you don't participate at all or don't talk at all, if they leave it very open-ended, they have nothing to go off of. You're not saying anything, you're not participating, there's nothing to assess. One thing that I would see from time to time is we're kind of going two extremes. One, you're not talking. The other side is you're absolutely dominating the conversation. Your voice is the most important. You want to talk the most. You become the self-appointed moderator of the group when you haven't been assigned that, where it can be kind of problematic behavior. It becomes pretty rude. But most people are trying to be pretty amicable and have thoughtful discussion. Hopefully you get put in a group like that. But there's no real trick to it. Just participate, be professional, have a good conversation with your peers. And then, for pre-recorded MMIs and Kira Talent, pretty familiar with those. There's not very many schools that use them at this point, but not a lot of resources needed to utilize them from a processing standpoint. So they're out there.
Yeah.
Kind of like Casper.
Yep. Mercy. Is 400 hours as a physical therapist aide, PTA, sufficient clinical experience to apply? Does it not count because it was PT? Christy, this is a very common question. Being a PT aide is not an uncommon opportunity for students. I always hesitate because it's not real medicine. I mean, it is, but it's typically outpatient, and maybe inpatient's a different discussion. What are your thoughts on being a PT aide for clinical?
I think it's good for clinical in terms of obviously working with patients and things like that, but I don't think I would use it as my sole source of clinical activity for my application. I think for medical school, I mean, the reason if I saw 400 hours as a PT aide and that's pretty much the sole source of your clinical experience, I would want to know why you're applying to med school. What has driven you? What has motivated you? How do you understand that this is what you want to do when your only experience is focused as a PTA? Now, if you have shadowed and you volunteered and you have other experiences that are more traditional focused in a clinic setting, and this is what you're doing now, maybe because you need a job by virtue of that, okay, we can probably have that conversation. But if this is the sole source, I would be concerned.
Yeah, me too. I was talking to a student the other day who was a PTA, but it was inpatient. And I'm like, okay, that to me differentiates it a little bit more because you're working with people who are actively ill and injured in the hospital and moving them and all that kind of stuff. So I think it changes the equation a little bit. Sole source of clinical experience. Yeah. Have you already applied, Mercy? If you have, I would try and go get some other experience during this gap year. Hopefully you'll get in and it's not a problem. Maybe you can send an update and say, I'm also doing this other thing now. But in the worst case scenario of needing to reapply, you've now gone and worked on that side of things.
Yep.
It's for me, here's where I always go to is the goal of the experience is to have the experience, to reflect on the experience, and then to write about the experience and talk about it. If we, they said no, my advisor said no because I only had PTA. First of all, your advisor can't tell you no. Your advisor can advise you. I'm a little concerned. But anyway, so if the experience is there to reflect on and to write about it and talk about it, then if we expand out and go, okay, I'm going to write about being a PT aide, it's like, I want to be a doctor because I helped patients rehab their injuries. I'm like, well, great, go be a physical therapist. You can't make that connection to medicine. It's just not a logical connection to be a PT aide and that being your only clinical experience and saying, I want to be a physician from it. That's the concern. CR, what do you think about applying to 40 plus schools? I feel the competition makes it really hard to resist applying very broadly, especially given reapplicant bias. Courtney, can we
so many levels.
Can we address the last part of that question first? CR, I want you to explain, especially given reapplicant bias. Courtney, is there reapplicant bias?
Not broad, I would say. Some schools maybe, but no, not really. A lot of the times reapplicants come to you a lot stronger, so it's a good thing. I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of schools. I've seen people apply to more. I've worked with people who have applied to more where they really.
That's a lot of secondaries.
It is. That's gonna, and that's what you run into is just if you're applying to 20 schools, if you're applying to 20 schools, you're writing like 100 plus secondaries. And then it just compounds from there. And I think a lot of people think, well, if I apply broadly one time, I'm going to get in. So I don't have to do this again. That's not always the case. You still have to be a good fit for these schools. And appealing to that broad of a market is going to be pretty hard. You want to be thoughtful and targeted. I would say, if you haven't applied yet, go and read the secondaries of a lot of these schools and see if you even look like a mission fit to them. But I mean, I don't know. I see reapplicants all the time, and a lot of the times they do appeal stronger or more mature or have had additional exposure that makes them better prepared in the eyes of an AdCom. But there's probably some lingering schools that would prefer a one and done strong candidate, but it's probably not the most norm.
Yeah. I don't even know. I'm not a statistics person. I would love to know, based on statistics, if there is any significant increase in chances by applying to 40 schools versus 30 schools versus 20 schools, right? Yeah. If the chances go from 40%, which we don't even know that data anyway, because it's such an individual answer per student, per application, right? We can look historically and go, oh, last year's class was 44% or whatever it was. But for one specific applicant, we don't know what their specific chances are. But just based on statistics, is there like an increase from 30% to 50% if they apply to 10 more schools or 20 more schools? I don't know that answer.
I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I guess we can say it that way. But oh my gosh.
Oh, I was writing for a year. And did you get in?
That's the highest number I've ever seen.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
That's brutal.
Are you in the process now? Yeah, and like there's some like diminishing returns in terms of just burnout and what you're writing and writing for a year. You've changed as a person over the year.
Yeah. Reapplication bias is only biased if you don't correct the reapplication problem. I mean,
100%. Yep.
You can apply to 60 schools and still not get in because there's an issue on the application.
That's good.
Yeah. Congrats on two strong interviews. So
I would question though, are those in the first 20? Like if you're going to apply to 20 schools, wouldn't they be in the top 20 anyway that you would apply to? So the other 20 or 36 that you have applied to?
Yeah.
Were they worth it?
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of schools.
Oh.
You win an award. That's the most I've ever seen. Ever.
Is it a good award or not?
Well, maybe if they're successful, good for them for being able to complete all of that work. That is brutal.
Low stats, 35505. All right. Go for it. Courtney, I'd love for you to talk about this. The end goal is to be an orthopedic surgeon. Would you say there's a big advantage in going to an MD versus DO school with the goal to match into ortho? I know you've celebrated with many of students who matched into ortho from your prior institution. What are your thoughts on this anti-DO bias for the orthopods out there? Yeah,
I mean, I think there's still some data out there that's available to kind of show who's taken what. What I usually encourage my students to do is go and look at some of your top choice residency programs. They list every match day result year over year. It's readily available on social media. Just do a scroll and see where they're pulling from. I think that can really inform a lot on if you have chances to end up somewhere. If they are consistently pulling from their own school and it's like 2 outsiders, that tells you something about if you want to end up there, what you need to do. I know that there's a program in Ohio that does prefer DO students for ortho. There may still be a slight bias for orthopedics to pull a little bit MD, but it's certainly not impossible at this point.
Yeah.
So
I like going to the source. And again, this doesn't tell us whether or not students are not matching because they're DO or MD. I'm going to get rid of the question.
Yeah, this is the data I was thinking about.
Yeah, so this is the match data. And I'm going to leave it here so you can see the top, what each column is. And then ortho, you can see right at the bottom is there. And 916 positions, 915 filled. I'm not sure what that program did to not fill. You have 726 plus 53 MDs going in. So MD grad is someone who maybe didn't match their first time or didn't try to match to do a research year to strengthen their application. So those are MDs and these are DOs who are matching. And so you can see there's 130 almost DO students matching. The far majority are MDs, but the majority of medical students are MDs, although it's going down and down. It's becoming a little bit more even these days. But we can't say that more aren't matching. And there is another chart up here of just the DOs. I can just show the number of applicants. DO applicants. It's this one. So number of applicant grads, I'll just look at grads here, is ortho. 1,492. I don't know if that's total applicants or all applicants, not just DO applicants. I don't know. I'd have to look at this again.
Yeah, that's kind of confusing how they have that listed.
Yeah, actually, here we can look. So this is 1492. Let me go to the MD list right up here. So this is the MD. Ortho. Yeah, it's 1492. That's what I thought. This is total applicants, not just DO applicants. I thought they separated out DO applicants as well.
So a third of the DO applicants to the orthopedic program then were accepted, because I think it was 11 that were accepted in orthopedics and 33 applied of the DO grads.
Of the DO grads, yeah.
It's a third. I mean, if you
which
break
is
it
pretty
down
good
that way.
odds.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. Oh, here's the DO seniors. So number of applicants, DO seniors, you have 256, and then
that was 117. 117. So
a little less
just
than
under
half.
40%.
Yep.
So a third and 40% is not bad. I mean, if that's really, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, and I go back to, we don't know why. Is it only a half or whatever it is because they're DOs, or are they DOs because maybe they struggle with the MCAT, and so their MCAT's a little bit lower, and that carried over into maybe a lower step 2 score, which hurt their chances of matching into Ortho. So there are other variables that just aren't captured anywhere. At the end of the day, for me, it's all about the student. If you are a strong student, you get strong recommendations, 100%. You work your butt off, you do well on your tests.
Yep.
You're gonna do fine.
Yep.
That's the argument I use for a top 20 school or whatever school. I'm like, your performance is what's gonna make or break you.
Yep.
Awesome. Good questions today. Keep them coming. Susan, I'm a non-trad pre-med, been working in marketing for 6 years. Another marketing pre-med person. Hey, come talk to us.
Yay.
Just finishing up pre-med or prereqs and taking MCAT soon because I work a full-time job. It's hard to accumulate community service hours. I've been able to accumulate a lot of shadowing research volunteer hours. Will the lack of community service be detrimental? Christine, you are a strong advocate for community service.
Yeah.
What do these non-trads do that are out there working a full-time job to put food on the table and keep a roof over their head, to do it all?
I think sometimes there are always mitigating factors. And I think when you write about things in your application, you talk about other impactful experiences, and you explain your story. Sometimes there is some mitigation, but you also use the word, I've been able to accumulate a lot of shadowing and volunteer hours. I'm curious to know if what you consider to be volunteer hours also can be considered community service. Will it be detrimental? Not for everybody. For some, I think there's always going to be some schools who want a larger number than others. I also think when you have a story that says you have to work and put food on the table, I think there's always mitigating opportunities to write about. But I am a proponent of community service. And if you find opportunities to reduce something else, it doesn't have to be 10,000 hours. It's showing an honest effort with what you can do. If it's 4 hours every other Saturday, then it's 4 hours every other Saturday.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and I know schools, I won't name them, schools that have cutoffs. I know one school has a cutoff of 100, and their dean of admissions has talked about they'll try to do their best to like look at your application and go, I'm going to mark this as community service just to get you over the hump. Things that are maybe in between. Another school that I know of has 150 hour, but that's a little bit more of a social community-based school to begin with, so their hours are a little bit more. So you may not have a good chance at those schools if you don't have any community service, but keep going.
There's so many reasons why they need it, and I'm not sure like they fully understand how beneficial it is. I mean, you're going into a service industry, you're going to have to interface with everybody. You need to know about the resources that are available in a community. You need to hear from the people facing barriers, what those barriers look like outside of clinic walls. And then as they're prepping you in year 1 and year 2, let's say they have a student-run clinic, a lot of individuals that utilize student-run clinics or health fairs or things like that are going to be individuals that may face a lot of barriers or have compounding problems or chronic health issues or things like that, who may be hesitant to interact with kind of more established facilities. And so go and get that community engagement now. Really plug yourself in, really keep your ears and eyes open for what you're supposed to be learning and understanding about people who are going to look to you for assistance. And so I think a lot of people, it's just like, well, I'm going into a service industry, so I need to show that I'll do service. It's like, it's so much bigger than that. It's such a huge part of added perspective and growth and understanding community and people and barriers.
When they ask you in an interview, how are you going to engage with people who are different than you? And you have never engaged in community service with people who have significant barriers, language barriers, who come from different cultures, who come from different worlds than anything that we've ever been exposed to. How do you even answer that question?
Mm-hmm. Yep. But with non-trad, sometimes there is different life experiences or exposures that still give you that kind of eyes wide open look at stuff. And so they may be able to pull some of your lived experience and say, okay, similar purpose or foundational understanding that you're looking for. So,
right.
Yeah.
I want to get to this one. We'll finish with this one. I don't know if this is a real question. Might be a question in my book. I don't know. What is the correct answer to this interview question? You're a strong candidate. How would you decide between our school and a state school if you get accepted there, like Shark Tank?
That's a question.
Yeah, Courtney. For private schools, obviously tuition is typically more, not always, but typically more. And you're trying to fill your class with students that are going to come. And if that strong applicant is likely to get accepted to their state school, they're probably going to take that lower tuition most times. What do you want students to say here?
I want them to be honest. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna, oh, well, you're a strong candidate and we love you, so now we're not gonna offer you a seat, because that would be a waste of time. I think they do want to hear that you would entertain the offer strongly, that there was a point to you applying there. Again, they only have a certain number of interview slots available to them. And so each one needs to be kind of purposefully used. And so the way that I would frame an answer for this is talk about, again, kind of what's drawing you to the school, what things would kind of help you do the consideration, where you feel like they can kind of help prep you for some of your future goals and stuff like that. Because it's saying, what are you going to use to decide? So be honest, but be very careful about how you frame and phrase things. Because maybe they do have different resources or opportunities available at that out-of-state school that could entice you. Maybe they have access to populations you want to work with in the future, or affiliated hospital systems that would be beneficial to rotate at, things like that. So if there's anything like that, I would bring that up. But sometimes it is a financial decision, which they may utilize for, if they really like you and they have funds, maybe that means we're going to offer this person a small scholarship to try to entice them to the school, because we're really driven to bring them onto our campus. So sometimes it is for that.
Yeah. I think it's just a different flavor of, why do you want to come here? Right. It's like, do you really want to come here?
I've told students, I'm like, first and foremost, just tell them you were very thoughtful in choosing the school list, and you believe they were a mission fit. And 100%. There are many factors that go into a final decision, but I have to feel like I'm a good fit here. And when I applied here, that was what I thought. The interview day factors in. So don't forget why you applied there to begin with, and be frank about, finances are certainly going to be part of that discussion. Mm-hmm. But if I go to my state school and I don't feel like I fit in there, I still may choose to go someplace where I know that I'm going to be a strong student over this next 4 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's that, my friends. MappdCon this Saturday, 9 to 5 Eastern. Register for free, MappdCon.com. Hear more from Courtney, Christine, myself, Dr. Ricky Brown, deans and directors of admissions from around the country, all to help you and all for free. So go check it out, MappdCon.com. Courtney, Christine, thank you so much for hanging out again today. We'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.